Sometimes people consume an enormous amount of information and still feel confused about life. They listen to podcasts, watch videos, read articles, save quotes, and yet something still feels unclear. Hello and welcome to a weekend episode of Daily English, where we try to grow in English and in life. Today, I want to talk about an important difference. The difference between information and insight. We live in a world filled with information. At almost any moment, we can learn something new. A new psychological concept, a productivity method, a life lesson. And because information is everywhere, it's easy to feel like understanding is everywhere too. But they're not the same thing. Information gives you more content. Insight changes the way you see it. You can know many facts about stress and still not understand your own stress. You can learn communication techniques and still struggle to connect with people. You can consume endless self-development content without deeply changing anything. Because insight is not just collecting ideas. Insight is when an idea becomes internally real. It is the moment when something suddenly connects, not intellectually only, but psychologically. For example, many people know that avoidance creates anxiety. They've heard it many times, but one day they delay replying to a message for a week and finally notice how the unfinished task follows them mentally everywhere. And suddenly, the idea feels different. Not because the information changed, because the experience connected to it. This is why insight often develops slowly. Information can be consumed in seconds, but insight usually requires reflection, experience, attention, and sometimes discomfort. And this creates an interesting modern problem. Many people are constantly consuming new information, but rarely sitting long enough with one idea to let it truly change the way they see. So, the mind keeps gathering more and more concepts without integration, without depth, without stillness. And eventually, learning starts to feel strangely empty. Not because the information is useless, but because accumulation is not the same as transformation. So, this weekend you might try something different. Instead of asking, what else should I learn? Ask, what idea do I already know, but haven't fully seen yet? Maybe real growth is not always about adding more. Maybe sometimes it's about finally understanding something that has been sitting quietly in front of us for a long time. Thank you for being here today. Take care and see you tomorrow.